Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the feed. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene. It's Mike and Marty on the feed, and here we are with our guest today, Groot.
He was in town for 3 weeks.
He sort of has a residence
has
now.
a
Isn't that
residency.
enough? I think he can vote in village elections from now
Well,
on.
he wanted to be here because he was interested about our topic today.
Yes, which will be the Bellows Falls Festival. That's going to be coming up here.
Coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Not
but-
even.
But here we are, May 31st. We made it to the last day of May. Any turkeys that survived now get to go for another until October.
Oh, because it's right, it's turkey hunting season.
Today's the last day of turkey hunting season. We have a big flock of turkeys that come in.
I
all the
actually
time.
encountered a turkey coming on the road between Walpole and Keene,
Yeah.
walking literally down the middle of the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I pull up and I slow down, and he's just walking. And I finally had to really hug the side to get past him, and he was just walking. He wasn't moving.
They are. This year's been amazing because we'd never seen turkeys around our yard before,
Mm-hmm.
and this year they've been, since the snow started to melt, they've been in almost every day, and they are the funniest things to watch. And they have gotten to where I can be sitting out reading, and the turkey will walk by, and it's like, aren't you guys supposed to be afraid? Isn't there like some sort of survival mode or something? But no.
So that's one thing we won't have at the festival is
Yeah,
turkeys.
okay.
But anyway,
But
we
first,
digress.
we have
But
to go to
first.
local events.
Local
first.
events.
Don't get
So
jumping ahead there.
I know I'm jumping ahead. So at the Bellows Falls Opera House this week, we have Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse.
That sounds intriguing.
I know, because there haven't been enough versions of Spider-Man. But I don't know. If it keeps selling and people keep going,
if
then
it makes money, keep doing
makes
it.
money, keep doing it. The
It's
classic.
like John Wick.
Stop. I know. I won't share my opinion on John Wick again. Classic movie this week is Just Mercy. It's actually in honor of Bill Lockwood and is being sponsored by Michelle Boslin. On Friday, June 2nd, that's this coming Friday because I have to switch that we're into June
Into
now.
June now, yeah.
Next stage, Bandwagon, the Summer Bandwagon series is continuing. It's happening this week at the Putney Inn, so as you know, they move it all around. And I will apologize ahead of time if I am not pronouncing the name correctly, but the artist is Kiran Aluwalia.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's
Yeah.
as close as I'm going to get. So that's at the Putney Inn. On Saturday, June 3rd, I want to remind everybody that Parks Place is having a fundraiser that they're calling Little Ones and Loved Ones. We had Jen here, what was it, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Talking about her concept for
Last
this. And it's $25 a couple, a little
Right,
one and a
right,
loved one. But you get, there'll be some snacks, and you get, I think she said a swag bag. And Chrissy Lisa will be taking pictures, and
That's going to be cute.
formal attire is encouraged so that you can kind of have this little like
Sort of a
dress up
parents
thing.
and
Yeah.
child dress up thing.
Yeah, which I think it sounds fun. So that's this Saturday at the Moose Family Lodge at 7 p.m. And then Sunday the 11th, the day after the Bellows Falls Festival, up at the Rockingham Meeting House will be a celebration of life for Ray Masuko.
Do you know what time that's starting?
Noon.
Oh, okay.
Noon, and I know that they haven't announced who the music's going to be yet, but I'm sure it will be one of the bands, probably a band from Roots,
Yeah.
and definitely one of Ray's favorites, I'm sure,
Yeah.
and one that can go acoustic because there's no
Right, there's
electricity
no
there.
electricity. It'll probably be like a
and there will
gospel
be,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
and there is limited seating within the
building
meeting house,
itself.
but there's plenty of
Yeah.
room on the property.
Okay, that's
So
great.
we're
I have to
encouraging
remember
people
that,
to
yeah.
come, even if they think they can't get a seat, they can
Uh-huh.
they can be outside, and
But
hopefully
there is
it'll
quite
be
a
a
bit
nice
of
day.
seating inside, just to be
There
honest.
is, yeah, but
Yeah.
there's not a lot of air inside.
That's true.
Well,
And
if they have all the windows open, it's not
Yeah,
as bad.
yeah.
But it could get a little stuffy. I've heard from other
From a usually reliable
well, because
source.
Roots historically was either, if I remember correctly in the history of Roots, it was either like 110 degrees and humid, so it was
Uh-huh.
really, really, really hot, or it rained.
Yeah.
They never seem to.
Yeah.
They never seem to encounter
That perfect
that
70-degree
perfect-
day. That,
yeah, they just never did. Now, hopefully, the Bellows Falls Festival will be changing
that tradition.
Changing that
I hope so
tradition.
too. So tell us about the festival, because to be honest, wasn't the festival sort of partially your brainchild and the Rotary?
No, well, it wasn't
I
really
thought it
Rotary per se. It was
Oh, I
pretty
thought it
much. I
was.
think we can attribute the whole push behind it to David.
Oh,
Stern.
David Stern.
So he came and he pitched it to the Rotary, and then we supported him.
See,
Yeah.
I didn't know the order of events.
Yeah.
I knew it originally. It's sort of Rotary is the
We
the
were
force behind it.
so David's
the-
a Rotary member,
Uh-huh.
and next year he'll be the Rotary president. And so he knew that we would, being the nature of Rotary to do community things, to support community events, and then certainly to support things that members bring to the club. He knew it would probably be a fairly good sell,
Yeah.
and a good partnership, because we've never done a festival, but we've done a lot of things.
Oh, you did Paddle Battle. You've done all sorts of different.
So we have a
spaghetti
little bit of
dinner and
history
everything, yeah.
organizing things,
Yeah, yeah.
not quite organizing a festival. So I think how it goes, and if David's listening, I apologize if I haven't got the exact story. But when David heard that Ray wasn't going to do Roots anymore, he had, I think, actually talked to Ray about the possibility of some other entity himself and some other entity continuing it, because he thought
Right.
it was important to the community, because it did definitely, you could always tell Roots weekend, because there were more people in town, and it just seemed like there was a different vibe. And at one time Roots was even in different areas in town. They had the Thursday
Pre-Roots.
night,
They did
and
a
the
Thursday,
Friday.
a Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday.
So David wanted to kind of continue the tradition, but actually bring it back into town, so that it was accessible to people. People could walk to it, which I think is important.
Yeah.
Because then people can relax. Say if they wanted to have a beer or two, they can, and they're within
Yeah, they
walking
don't have to
distance.
worry,
It's
they
a
can
little
just
bit.
walk, yeah.
There was no option for that. There was no like bus that bussed people up to the Roots Festival. So he wanted to have it in town, and he wanted to change the I guess it would be the genre of the music a little bit, and maybe I think the Roots music was kind of niche.
I think it was
'Cause it
too.
started-
that's
because it
that's a
started
fair
out,
thing to say.
yeah.
It was because it was Fred Eaglesmith.
Right.
Totally
I couldn't
at
think he
first.
was totally niche. Yeah, at
and
first.
and then it sort of moved, but it was always that sort of genre,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of country. I don't even know how folk
I don't-
country,
yeah.
electric, whatever.
Not sure what you
Canadian
call it.
country.
Not sure. Anyway, so he wanted to change the genre. So he posed it to the Rotary Club, and also he's got his group of the players, the Wild Goose players. They're community involved. They like to do. They like to perform.
Yeah.
They like to and this could be potentially. I don't know about this year, but it could potentially be. It's like a fundraiser for both
Yeah. right.
entities, so it could be a win-win for the entities that are sponsoring it, and then also the public having a nice local festival that you can walk to
Right. Exactly.
on a nice location on the canal.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of the biggest challenge at first, was to figure out exactly where to have it. There was some thought of having it at the Robinson Paper Mill, that plot of
That
land,
flat land,
which is
yeah.
a nice plot of land, but it doesn't have electricity. It doesn't have a lot of the minor things that you need.
It would be a bare bones.
It would be a bare
festival.
bones. Plus the idea of if you have a huge open field and you maybe don't get as many people because it's the first year, then it looks sparse. But if you put it in a smaller location, and you don't get a lot of people.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and there's just the accessibility.
Right. Well, and that's a nice venue, really. When they did old Homestay down there, that was always nice. It was very, they would wire up the parking lot so there was electricity for vendors there, and they would do all this stuff, and it was a nice walking place to go. So
It is, and you've also got that grassy area that
Yeah,
people kind of
that
forget
people can
about.
sit-
So we decided to do the Waypoint Center. David, laid it out, and the nice thing there too is the bands are covered.
Yeah,
So
that's
while
really important.
It's hugely important. While you still have to worry about rain and about people coming. We will have a tent. There will be a tent set up that will accommodate, I believe, about 200 people. I think about 200 chairs are going to be under the tent. Just in case of the rain. Usually going to a festival, that's kind of a perk actually, because usually going to a festival, there's precious
You're
little
out
covered
in
area
the-
unless you're
yeah.
willing to pay for VIP tickets. So that's, to me, that's a perk of the festivals, that we're providing that without, an upcharge to the VIP area. Donovan's will be there selling the adult beverages. There will be food vendors. We have Tito's Taqueria coming from Brattleboro. We have Sarah DiBernardo coming with all of her smoke and bowls
Oh, that's
goodies.
great, because they've just upgraded to a brick and mortar place. So
Yeah.
I've looked. Their menu looks like it's really expanded, and they really have.
Their menu is expanded. We went up one night for they're doing a Thursday night burger, burger and brew kind of thing. We went up. We sat out they had tables outside. It was a beautiful night. It was good burger. I didn't have the brew, but I had a soda. And I don't know how she finds the time, but she still was willing to come do the festival.
No, that's great. And back to the taco place, because they started as a food truck and then went to a brick and mortar.
And now they have their
and now
food
they
truck.
have a food truck and a brick and mortar.
Yeah,
so that's
I
pretty
know.
cool.
Again, I think unfortunately in the restaurant business, you got to
You
got
really
to
have
come
to
up with
keep
all
on
these
top of it.
all these
Yeah.
revenue streams. And then the Moose Family Lodge will be there.
Oh.
And then
So do you know what they're going to do? Or are they going to do?
So
like
the Moose
burgers
does
and-
like burgers and dogs.
Oh, okay,
kind
cool.
of your basic burgers and dogs. Sarah always has something creative.
Yeah, really.
And then Tito's, of course, the tacos.
Yeah.
And then a little bit, not necessarily in the afternoon. I think later in the day, Jamaican Jules is coming.
Oh, great.
Now
And
I'm
they
not sure
always
if
have
Jamaican
good
Jules is coming and Tito's is leaving. I'm not clear on that. I don't have. David's been really
Well, I
running
hope
point
they're
on
both
this.
there, because they don't have overlapping menus.
They
at
don't,
all,
but I think it was a timing thing.
Oh, okay.
I think that's why we did it that way, to make sure that we had three
Oh,
at all
three
times. We
trucks
had
at all
three
times, yeah,
vendors.
okay.
I think there was scheduling for Jules earlier in the day, and I think there might have been. They only had a certain amount of time with Tito's, but I'm not. Again,
Yeah,
David has
yeah.
been doing pretty much the heavy lifting on this, so he knows more on point than I am. So those are the food vendors, and then Parks Place will be there. Selling some nice fresh squeezed lemonade.
That's always good.
That is. Well, it's good because it's, not everybody partakes of the adult beverages.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
no.
there's not Jamaican Jules, Parks Place. And then the Women's Club is coming, I believe, in the afternoon. They haven't given me the exact time frame. And they're going to be selling their world famous baked cookies.
That's
Or
great.
baked goods.
Yeah. Well, I hope they do it, because they used to do the cookies all the time for the Santa thing on for the free movie just on the first, and the cookies were always really good. They were as
And-
popular as Santa.
They were as popular as Santa, and I think I remember when we would set the trays out, setting up for the event. I might have sampled a couple. I'm not sure, but
Well,
anyway,
you
they
have
were
to make
very
sure
good.
they're all right,
They were
you know,
very
you-
good cookies.
that they're safe for the children to eat.
So that was another part of the concept that David had, was to make this not only about the music but about community.
Mm-hmm.
And so there will be some vendors. I think a few craft vendors. I know at least one jewelry vendor.
Oh, nice.
Somebody else, I think, selling some craft items, and then I believe there might be some other nonprofits that might have booths there with their information. Like we are trying to get, we haven't heard back, but Rich Earth to come
Oh,
with
yeah.
the pea cycling.
There should be plenty of that.
There should be
going
there
on.
should be plenty
Especially if
of need
it's
for that at a
by
festival.
the evening, and after a few.
So there will be a lot of there's a face painting, someone coming doing face painting for kids, and then there's also somebody that's bringing some kids games, like lawn games.
Yeah.
So again, David's idea was to really make it family
Right,
friendly
exactly.
too. So it's a festival that you can come and go in. Once you've checked in and you got your wristband, you can go and come back, which is unusual for festivals. But again, trying to make it accommodating. Like maybe the kids come in the afternoon, but they don't want to stay the whole day, so the parents bring them home and the parents come back, and so it's a win-win, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the kids are getting an outing. So let's going to go through the lineup.
Yeah, let's go through
So
the
I do
the
have
bands.
pictures.
Okay. Do you know the order of the lineup? Or
I
do.
do.
You,
That I
okay.
actually have.
Oh,
I
great.
wrote that.
Well, that's sort of
yeah.
important, because if people
Yeah.
want to say, well, there's a band that's my favorite band and
Yeah.
I'd like to go, it'd be good to know where they are in the lineup.
So kicking off the day at 1 o'clock, and I don't know the exact time, so I
Sure,
could give
yeah.
you 1 o'clock, and then I can give you when
The
Sarah
end of
Borges
it.
starts. Exactly. We have Ben Jennings, the Ben Jennings Quartet.
Okay.
So they are, I believe they're out of Keene. They've played at the Molehill Theater a few times. I apologize, I can't pinpoint all of the genres of the bands,
that's okay.
but in listening to, we all, as the Rotary Club, we all got to listen to a bunch of bands that David recommended and then kind of cull out who we had as the top
Yeah. Oh, that's
the
an
top
interesting
few,
process. That'd be-
and then it was
yeah.
a process of, okay, who could come and who couldn't come,
Right,
and
right,
who,
right.
how, could we afford them, and all those
Uh-huh.
type things. So, I would say that the majority of the bands play a pretty eclectic kind of funk groove, almost bordering on like a jam type, from the few clips that I've seen.
Okay.
So I know that I think, well, actually, we're getting to the next band, the Gaslight Tinkers. I think they are a band that people are going to recognize that name, because I recognized it. I don't remember from what, but they've definitely been in the area before. And they have they're the band, I believe, that has the fiddle player. So it's a fiddle, but it's also like fiddle with some funk and groove stuff.
Yeah.
So I think what you'll find is you may not find. You may not know what to expect. Like when I went to this Steel Wheels concert,
Right. Oh,
I
yeah.
had no idea what to expect from Steel Wheels. Like I knew,
But it turned out
little,
to
but
be
it turned
really
out to be
good,
really,
yeah.
really cool. So I think that's kind of the
The same
interesting
idea.
Yeah, that just show up in
Because Steel Wheels was a surprise. I thought it was a bluegrass band, and it turned out
it was
to be
totally
electric,
different. Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
neat stuff.
And then of course everybody knows Milkhouse Heaters. So
Yeah.
that's a known entity.
yes,
Jan
a
and
very
Mike.
good local
Original
band.
music.
Do all their yes, very
Yeah.
good. Been around a long time. Started out as punk rockers.
I know.
And
I love when they share their old photos on
So
on
do I.
Facebook. And did we put up a screenshot for we don't have for Milkhouse Heaters?
Oh,
I know. Well, okay.
all right.
Anyway, everybody knows Mike and Jan, so we'll give
Yeah.
them an extra plug because we
Because
didn't get their
and they're really
visual
good,
up.
too.
I apologize. And Keen Pride will be coming. They'll be doing one performance, one quick little, I think, 15-minute act,
Okay.
and then the next in the agenda is Blue Motel. And I don't really know much about Blue Motel. They were kind of we had the beginning of the day and the end of the day, and we weren't sure how to fill the center, or David
So
wasn't sure how to fill
they
the
were
center.
the-
So Blue Motel was a band that he came across, so they're coming. Now we're getting kind of into the headlining.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Mammals are the next to the last band. Again, they're looking like, again, kind of a fiddle and funk and a little bit of everything. And
Yeah.
then finishing the evening with Sarah Borges. And
Oh,
I did listen to a few of her songs, and I think she's going to be a little more rockin'.
Okay.
I
good.
think, a little more
Yeah,
high,
they should-
finishing
and-
out the
yeah,
evening with that. And then there will be, to round out the total festivities, the Wild Goose Players have been keeping it very much under wraps, but they've been
Yeah.
they're planning a
They're doing
little
like
performance,
a finale.
finale.
Performance.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like musical? Do
I
we
would
even
think
get
it
a
might.
hint?
It
Does
might.
like,
Does it sound like or looks like?
uh,
I think it's probably going to be one of their usual spectacular surprises.
Oh, okay, good.
I would assume there would be
yeah.
some music involved.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
type of music, because that's kind of what they do best, and maybe some. I don't know, some wonderful sets. I know they're building the set right now.
They have a set.
There's a set, yeah, yeah, because they're
Well,
logistically.
what would David be involved with something if it didn't have a set?
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly. So this, there's some thought
bet
that's
they
gone
have,
into
like,
this.
He and Vanessa have sets for dinner.
They could.
Yeah,
They
they
could be.
probably-
We're
well,
going to
it's
eat in the
Thursday.
forest
We need to
scene.
put up the Sweeney Todd set.
So it's going to be a full day of activities. This goes from 1 to 10 at the Waypoint Center. Tickets are available at bellowsfallsfestival.org. We actually did a dedicated website with the idea that the hope is that this will grow like Roots grew.
Uh-huh.
It'll become a festival that happens every year, and it'll get a little bit more, well-known and bigger, and perhaps then a bigger budget, so you can have either more bands or more expensive bands, or maybe you just stay with the local bands because it was fun and it's
Yeah.
low key, and then you don't get the
Well, it's so important. I mean, you sort of alluded to it, and I think David's alluded to it, that Ray did want this to go on.
He did.
And it was just a matter of, he had done it for so many years, and it was time to pass the baton, and he was looking for people to do it. And there was always a group of people that were trying to do it, but didn't quite have his level of intensity. So it's neat that you guys have taken this on. And
Yeah, it was like I said, it was David. David had the drive to get the ball rolling, and then the Wild Goose players, and we have some sponsors. We some sponsors have stepped up, and I'm hesitant to name them because I'm afraid I'm going to
You might
forget
forget
somebody. So be sure if you go to the concert or you check out the website that you look and see all of the local. There's a couple of local banks. There's local businesses. And just realize that they're helping too, because they're helping with the sponsorship, because it's difficult to do something like this the first year. You have no budget. You literally have to kind of hope that you make a certain amount to pay back what you've spent, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the sponsorship is vital. And
there must be something people in the community. First of all, the people in the community need to come and support it and buy tickets and attend and enjoy themselves for the day. But then there are other things, aren't there?
Well, good thing you brought this up, because I would probably be chastised tomorrow at the meeting if I did not bring up the volunteer opportunity.
I imagine there are numerous volunteer opportunities.
There are numerous volunteer opportunities. In fact, if you go to the Bellows Falls Festival.org website, there's a volunteer button. And you can sign up. We're asking people there's different categories that you can sign up for. Like, it's divvied out into categories. So you're not just volunteering and then not knowing what you might end up with. You can actually pick the categories that you want. And I think we're asking for 3-hour blocks of time, which really isn't horrible, because even with volunteering and doing work, you will be at the festival. You will get to see the music, and then if your time is up, I don't think we're going to kick you out. I think you can stay and watch the rest of the festival. So many hands make light work. So this is a big undertaking. There's a lot of little devil in the details things that we're working out right now to make sure that we get the flow as the best that we can. Like, where are we going to put the bag check versus walking through? Are we going to bag check well before people get through, so there's not a bottleneck, and then there's will be a separate area for if you want to have your ID checked. So we're working on those like, where's everybody going to details of how things are going to flow around.
So you brought up a good general. Are there general rules?
There are some general rules. Basically, don't bring weapons.
That's a good rule. I like that.
Don't bring, and we're gonna run out of time before we get to our clip. Don't bring weapons. Don't bring in glass. Don't bring pets. You can bring
no pet pythons.
No pet pythons.
Okay.
There was a whole list, and I'm totally blanking right now. But generally, it's common sense, and it's stuff that
it's
you
like
see
if you've ever gone to a concert.
A concert, it's all the things. This is the same thing.
You can't. This because it's in Bellows Falls
doesn't mean
you can bring
your
Barca
lounger
or your keg or
exactly or your fireworks. That was on the list too.
Or your drone or all those things.
Exactly. We are running out of time. We are going to end with a clip of the Memorial Day festivities, because it is May, and May is Memorial Day.
It just was Memorial Day, and Bellows Falls had a ceremony, so we're going to end with that our clip of that ceremony. So see you next week. See you next week.
Color guard, you all set? You all set, Eddie? Very well, Commander.